The desert sun had only just begun to bow its head, casting a golden glow over the walls of Masjid al-Nabawi. Silence reigned inside, though the city bustled outside with merchants, travelers, and seekers of wisdom. Within that sanctified chamber, there sat a man whose name was known in the heavens before it was ever spoken on earth, Ali ibn Abi Talib as. The Prophet Muhammad SAW had once declared, with the firmness of divine revelation in his voice, "I am the city of knowledge, and Ali is its gate." Those words, etched into the hearts of the faithful, were not mere poetry. They were a declaration, a key to the treasure house of intellect and spirituality that lived within one man. And today, the people of Medina would witness what those words truly meant. It was an unusually crowded gathering that day. Word had spread, scholars from different lands, curious minds, and even skeptics had come, some out of reverence, others out of pride. They all sought to test the young lion of Banu Hashim. Would he falter? Would he pause? Would he, even for a moment, hesitate? He sat calmly, a reflection in the sky, just before dawn, deep, wide, and waiting. In front of him were scrolls, tablets, and dozens of questioners waiting for their turn to speak. He did not need those scrolls. His heart was a library, his soul a fountain of divine understanding. It wasn't knowledge he possessed. It was as if knowledge had taken residence within him. A man from Egypt, known for his sharp tongue and challenging nature, stepped forward. "O Ali," he began, with the arrogance of a seasoned debater, "they say you know the secrets of the Quran. Then tell me, how can a book revealed over 23 years be perfect and without contradiction?" Imam Ali, A.S., looked at him with eyes that carried centuries of light. "Oh man," he said gently, "you have mistaken your limits for the book's limits. The Quran is a mirror. The cleaner your soul, the clearer its reflection. It is not contradiction you see, it is your own confusion mirrored back at you." Gasps echoed through the masjid. The Egyptian scholar lowered his head, not humiliated, but awakened. Imam Ali, A.S., had not defeated him. He had elevated him. Another step forward, a student of Greek philosophy. What is the soul? Is it matter or something outside of creation? Imam Ali, as replied, "The soul is the command of my Lord. It is not created like you and me. It is a breath from the unseen, a traveler through your body. It does not age, though your flesh does. It does not weaken, though your limbs do. It is the whisper you hear in silence, the light you see in darkness, the ache you feel in sujud." The student froze. He had read Plato, studied Aristotle, debated in the courts of kings, but this was the language of the heavens. A Jewish rabbi asked, "O Ali, what proof do you have that Muhammad, SAW, is the true messenger of God?" Ali, A.S., replied, "That he changed hearts without swords, built a nation without wealth, and called to one God when surrounded by thousands of idols. He gave knowledge without reading, and made the learned bow to a man who never went to school. Is this not a sign enough?" The rabbi's eyes glistened. "Baruch Atah," he whispered under his breath. "Blessed are you, O Lord, who grants such light to men." One by one they came, astronomers, poets, jurists, skeptics, and mystics. Every question found not just an answer, but a revelation. Ali, as spoke not to impress, he spoke to awaken. And then came a child, innocent, wide-eyed. He asked no theological debate, no philosophical riddle. He simply looked up at the Imam and said, "What is Allah like?" Ali's eyes softened. He bent down, placed a hand gently on the boy's shoulder. "He is closer to you than your thoughts, more loving than your mother, more patient than your teacher. He sees your tears before they fall, and hears your du'as before you whisper them. He is not like anything you can imagine, and yet he is with you always." The child smiled. In that moment, the masjid was silent, not out of awe, but out of love. Outside, the sun had set, but inside, light still poured from the gate of knowledge. This was not a debate. It was a divine unveiling. Imam Ali, A.S., had not merely answered their questions. He had stirred their souls. They came to challenge him with questions. They left changed, not by the words of a man, but by the light of a wali. And thus, the day ended not with applause, but with sujud. One by one, hearts bowed where pride once stood. For today, they had passed through the gate and found the city. But the story did not end there. As the moon took its place in the sky, whispers of what had occurred began to travel beyond Medina. Among the caravans, in the markets, and across the sand dunes of Arabia, people spoke not only of answers, but of how their hearts had trembled in the presence of a man who answered without fear, without flattery, only with truth. The next day, the masjid was even more full. This time, not just scholars but rulers. A man from the court of the Byzantine emperor stood, draped in silk and gold, his translator beside him. Ali, he asked, they say you speak in metaphors. Tell me then, what is truth? Ali, A.S., responded, truth is not a cloak you wear when convenient. It is a blade that cuts through illusion. It is light that burns even the eyes of those who fear to see. It is bitter for the liar, sweet for the seeker, and eternal for the sincere. The man lowered his gaze. For all his riches, he felt poor in that moment. A fire worshiper stepped forward. You Muslims face one direction in prayer. What is in that cube that makes you turn to it so? Ali A.S. smiled. Nothing is in the cube, but everything is behind it. We face it not for what it holds, but for what it reminds us of. Unity is not a symbol of stone, but a direction for the heart. A woman stood up, elderly and veiled. Her voice shook. Ali, they say God is merciful. Then why does he allow pain? Ali S. stood, and for the first time his voice rose slightly, so that the hard hearts may soften, so that arrogance may break, so that those who never bow may fall to their knees and say, Ya Allah. Pain is not cruelty. It is a mercy in disguise, for what soul remembers God in constant comfort. Tears streamed down her face. She didn't respond. She simply sat and whispered his name. Children returned. They were drawn to him like moths to flame. One brought a date and placed it in Ali's hand. Is this good, O Ali? He smiled. Yes, because it grew from the ground and gave you sweetness without taking anything from you. Be like that. Give without asking. Another child pointed at the stars now flickering in the early night sky. Are they watching us? Ali A.S. looked upward. They witness, yes, but more than that, they remind that no matter how lost you feel, light is always above you, waiting. The gathering went on. It became less a majlis, more a movement. People left not with answers, but with new questions, not from doubt, but from desire to learn more. And when the Prophet, SWW, finally entered the masjid that evening, he saw what had transpired. He looked around at the weeping, the quiet, the hearts overflowing, and then at Ali's, who was seated with his head lowered, humbled not by praise, but by the weight of responsibility. The Prophet placed his blessed hand on Ali's shoulder. Ali, he said, today they have not only witnessed the gate, they have stepped into the city. Ali, did not respond immediately. His eyes moistened. He looked around. These people had come with fire in their hearts and left with light in their eyes. He had not spoken to glorify himself, but to serve the message. He turned to the Prophet and whispered, I only said what you taught me, Ya Rasulallah. The Prophet, SWW, smiled, and you spoke it as no one else could. That night, Medina did not sleep. The people, now stirred, gathered in their homes, reflecting, praying, speaking to one another with kindness, with thought, with humility. They did not just remember the answers Ali gave, they remembered the way he gave them. The gate of knowledge, when Imam Ali, A.S., answered every question in one sitting. Some said his words carried the rhythm of revelation. Others said they felt as if the angels themselves had descended to listen. But all agreed on one thing. Knowledge, real knowledge, had never before felt so alive. The next morning, Imam Ali, A.S., was seen walking alone, deep in thought. A companion approached him and asked, Why do you not celebrate? You've silenced every critic, answered every doubt. Ali looked up with eyes that saw beyond the moment. Silencing is not my goal, he said. Awakening is. And knowledge is not in winning an argument. it's in guiding his soul. These were not the words of a man proud of himself. These were the words of a gatekeeper to the city of divine knowledge, to the heart of Islam, and to the soul of mankind. And so, the legacy of that single sitting echoed across generations. It was not recorded in scrolls, but in the hearts of those who had been present. They carried it forward, the wisdom, the calm, the light. And even now, centuries later, when a seeker of truth closes his eyes and says, "Ya Ali, guide me," the gate still opens. Because knowledge, real knowledge, never dies. And the gate? It was never locked to begin with.